The ice hockey teams prepare for the postseason.
And the basketball teams rack up the wins.
It's the season premiere of All Access, and it all starts right now. Welcome to All Access, the show that is your source for Rowan athletics, news, recaps, and highlights. I'm Derek Hill.
And I'm Cody Decker. We are now in season 28 of this fantastic show, and I have to say we should all receive gold medals for getting to this point. Well, I guess we can leave that to the athletes in Pyeongchang. Meanwhile, the winter season is approaching the end, and our Rowan sports teams are quite busy. So let's get started with the latest on the club ice hockey teams. Derek?
Thanks, Cody. The Division II Rowan ice hockey team closed out their regular season with a 12-2 win over MAC rival Stevenson University on senior night on Saturday. 6 seniors were honored before the game. Forward Bobby Penrod led the Profs with 2 goals and 2 assists. Forwards Trevor Rucci and Anthony Delarose both had 1 goal and 2 assists. The Profs fired 60 shots on goal, while goaltender Justin Nattiello made 17 saves on 19 shots. They improved to 13-13 on the season and await their fate for the regional tournament on Wednesday. Before the regionals next week, Rowan will begin their playoff push at the Mid-Atlantic Collegiate Hockey Tournament this Friday through Sunday. They open up against Rider University at 3 p.m. on Friday. RTN will have continuous coverage from Pennsauken all weekend long on our sports live stream.
The Division III ice hockey team began a 3-game weekend on Friday as they traveled to Maryland to face division rival Loyola. The Greyhounds opened up the scoring in the first period with a goal from Daniel Hughes, assisted by Craig Moore and Andrew Fogarty. Just over 10 minutes later, Rowan answered with a power play goal from forward Jared Euro, and it was assisted by defenseman Joseph DePascal and defenseman John Cassio. There will be no more scoring until there was 3 minutes and 30 seconds left in the third period, as defenseman Mark Dorenzi scored off assists from fellow defenseman Cassio and Lenny Coviello. The final score would end there at 2-1 with the Profs on top. They had more shots on goal by a margin of 30-23, and goalie Ryan McCusker made 22 saves.
The Profs, sitting at number 4 in the Atlantic region, hosted 10th-ranked Pitt Johnstown on Saturday, where 6 Rowan players were honored before the game for senior night. After no goals in the first, Anthony Galicchio scored just 55 seconds into the second period to give the Profs the lead, but the game would shift from there. The Mountain Cats scored 5 unanswered after that, including 3 in the second to take the win. Jake Batchik had 2 goals and an assist, and Mike Mahich had 2 goals of his own. Rowan had 13 more shots on goal, but Mountain Cats goaltender James Borriello made 36 saves to help secure the win.
In their final regular season game, the Profs traveled to Connecticut to face the second-ranked team in the region, Fairfield University. Both teams traded goals in the second half of the first period, but a late first-period goal started a scoring surge for the Stags. They would score 3 more in the second period to give Rowan another 5-1 defeat. Patrick Lawler led the Stags with 2 goals and 1 assist. Ben Affinito contributed with 2 assists. For the Profs, the lone goal came from the captain, Brandon Mead. Fairfield was 3 for 4 on the power play. The Profs finished the regular season with a 14-9-1 record and prepare to find out what seed they will have in the regional tournament on Wednesday. The tournament will be in Aston, Pennsylvania on February 23rd and 24th, and you'll be able to catch Rowan's games on our RTN Channel 5 sports live stream.
Now for the latest in pro sports, here is Chris Devine with this week's Pro Talk.
Hello everybody and welcome to Pro Talk. I'm your host Chris Devine, keeping you up to date with the biggest stories going on in pro sports. Hopefully your semester hasn't been as draining as my sinuses. If you've been under a rock for the past week, then you probably haven't heard that the Philadelphia Eagles won their first Super Bowl, Philly Dilly. Don't worry, I'm not going to bore you or my colleagues with the details of the game as it was memorable, but the bigger news surrounding the Birds is crowd size? See, this past Thursday, the city of Philadelphia held a parade for the world champions. The parade went from the sports complex in South Philly, up Broad Street, and then down the Ben Franklin Parkway, to the Art Museum, where a ceremony was held, and center Jason Kelsey etched his name into Philadelphia sports lore with a profanity-ridden speech about underdogs. But experts analyzed satellite footage of the parade and estimated that only 700,000 people attended. Now, to put this into perspective, 2 million people came out for the Phillies World Series parade in 2008, and now there are fans asking other experts to review pictures to give a more accurate estimate. The city said that they believe over 3 million people attended the parade, and as someone who was there, I can vouch for that. At least we aren't comparing inauguration pictures. The Cleveland Cavaliers held a fire sale at the trade deadline last week. Following a series of blowout losses and reports of rising tensions in the locker room, the Cavs traded Isaiah Thomas, who they acquired from Boston this past offseason for Kyrie Irving, to the Lakers for Larry Nance and Jordan Clarkson. The Cavs weren't done yet, as they traded LeBron's bestie in Dwayne Wade, who signed in Cleveland as a free agent this past offseason, back to a more familiar place in Miami. Now, while many analysts feel that the fire sale made the Cavs more inexperienced, they did get younger, and they surrounded LeBron with a good mixture of talent, athleticism, shooting, and defense. Could the Cavs win the Eastern Conference for the 4th straight year and match up against the Warriors yet again? LeBron will have to lead the kids to answer that question. And finally, the Winter Olympics have gotten underway in Pyeongchang, South Korea. The United States won its first gold medal of the Games thanks to 17-year-old snowboarder Red Gerard. Gerard won the gold in the men's slopestyle competition. The teenager from Colorado was sitting in last place heading into his final run, but dazzled with a perfect run of moves and tricks that propelled him from the basement to the podium. Gerard was able to jump past 2 Canadian snowboarders in Mark McMorris and Max Perrot, who were both favored to win gold. The 2 Canadians did make the podium, but they were looking up, or as a matter of fact, eye level, with Red Gerard as the Star Spangled Banner played in the background. That's all I have for you on this week's Pro Talk. Later, Cody and Derek have the scoop on the basketball teams, but coming up after the break, Mo hosts our Hockey Rowan Roundtable, so stay tuned for more All Access.
Welcome back to All Access. Time for our Rowan Roundtable. Joining me today are Sam Meyer and Aaron Sagnello of the Division II Ice Hockey team. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
So guys, I noticed that last year you started off good, got to a good start, 17-7-2, 116 goals scored, 81s allowed. And, this season a little bit better, 130 goals scored, only 74 allowed, but only a record of 13-13. So I was wondering, what's the change?
I think the biggest thing with the record is, we lost one of our big guys last year, put up a lot of numbers for us, Alec Nikolai. He was definitely a big role player for us. Our goalie also in net, he was a huge factor for our team. So those 2 big things. And then, we just had a rough start, I'd say. There's a few games we let slip away from us. But, I don't think the record speaks too much about our team and stuff, but definitely I'd say those are probably 2 big reasons why we're sitting where we're sitting right now.
Yeah, kind of going off what he said about our record kind of doesn't show kind of the talent we have. We have a very young team this year. We got a lot of rookies on our team, so they're kind of just trying to fit into our system and what we're trying to do as a team. So, it's just basically adjusting to how they play and getting them accustomed to our type of gameplay. So like he said, we lost a few games we probably should have won, lost some close ones, but all in all, we've been putting up good effort every game. So, we're pretty happy with where we are.
So aside from the record, looking at the stats, I see that a lot of things have improved. So despite having a young team, what's the change in improvement? What pushed the improvement in the team?
I just think we knew we had a lot of expectations to hold ourselves up to this year. We lost guys, like I said, some key guys. So we needed guys to step up, and we did. Our rookie class was huge. Justin Nadiella, who was on the bench for 3 years, came in this year and had a phenomenal season. So it's just those little things, I think, and I feel like we're more of a group this year, more of a team. We have some good team chemistry. So just those little things that add up that are definitely showing, paying off for us now.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he said, these rookies that have came in, they really stepped up. They're all top 5, top 6 in scoring on our team. So, they're already used to the kind of style of play of this league. Obviously they've adjusted pretty well. So they're still putting up points. Like he said, we've had big shoes to fill. Justin Nadiella has been outstanding this year, stepping up, especially being a backup for the past 3 years and not really getting too many games. He's really stepped up, and he's large part of the reason why we have so much success this year.
That's good. That's good. So, in talking to both of y'all, I found out that you both play forward now and at some point in your life have played defense. So, in your opinion, which one is harder to play?
I mean, everybody has their own skill sets, their own attributes, so it's like kind of finding what fits best for yourself. But I mean, no one position's I'd say easier than the other, but like forwards, I'd say it's a lot more conditioning. You're up and down the ice, you have responsibilities in the offensive zone just as much as you do in the defensive zone. Whereas defense, it might be a little bit more heavier on the defensive end where you're relied on more. But if I had to say which position's harder, I don't know. I mean, I'm a forward, so I'm a little biased. I'd probably say a forward, but it's definitely very close.
Yeah, I mean, no position is easy. I mean, goaltending's obviously the hardest, but as far as defense and offense, like he said, there's different responsibilities. I mean, as a defenseman, you're trying to not get scored on, and then as offense, you're trying to score for your team. So, I mean, both are pretty hard to play. I would say, like, fundamentally wise, probably defense, just because you're more looked upon to not get scored on, and you're really the last line of defense before the goalie.
Right.
So I would say that's probably harder to play.
It's like one of the big things with me. Growing up, I was just strong. I could barely skate backwards growing up, so it was never like an option for me. And I always like respected the kids that like when we were younger, some kids could skate backwards faster than they could skate forward. So
Right.
it's just one of those things, you know.
So, personally, for somebody who's never played hockey but has watched hockey, I can tell that skating is difficult, but at times I can't follow the puck.
Yeah.
So, as a player, I'm trying to figure out, how are y'all able to follow the puck so easily? It's like real small compared to everything else that's happening on the ice.
Now, I definitely know where you're coming from, but I don't know. I've been playing it my whole life, like I said earlier, so just kind of just used to it now. But it's one of those sports. It's so fast moving, so fast paced. Where like you're always thinking one step ahead. Like you can't react to where the puck is then, because by the time you get there, it's not going to be there anymore. So it's one of those you're anticipating. You're on your toes. You're always trying to like figure out what's next. So you see plays forming and stuff like that. But it's definitely not easy.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously takes years of experience to kind of get used to the game. You always got to be aware out there. You always got to keep your head up. I mean, because there's guys flying around you. I mean, like you said, the puck's the smallest thing on the ice, and you got big bodies flying around you. And like Sam said, I mean, it's just anticipating where the puck's going to go. Because if you get too puck focused, I mean, it'll be gone by the time you get there. So it's just kind of being aware of your surroundings and just keeping your head up and not so much watching the puck, but kind of anticipating where it's going to go next.
So, for somebody who was interested in playing hockey, but had never played before, what advice would you give to them for a start, a nice basis?
I would say just get out on the ice, have fun, go out with some friends, definitely get your foundations for skating down, because that's the hardest thing. It's like people want to go out, they love watching the game, they see it, and then they get on the ice and they can't skate, and after 5 minutes they're like, oh, screw this, whatever, this isn't meant for me. But I'd say once you get your foundation for skating down, you can go out pretty much any time and you'll have a good time.
Yeah, I mean, that's obviously the biggest thing. If you can't skate, you can't play. So kind of just getting into the groove of learning how to skate. I mean, obviously, it takes time. I mean, it took me a few years to learn how to skate well. And then, I mean, yeah, like he said, just play with your friends. I mean, it's a lot of fun no matter what you do. I mean, even if you're just out on a lake, just skating around with no pucks or anything, no equipment, just skating around, it's kind of like an exhilarating feeling, just being out there on the ice.
So, my last question. If you could play for any professional hockey team right now, which team would you play for and why?
I'd have to go 100% the New York Rangers. It's the first NHL game I went to as a kid, so I've always been a big fan my whole life growing up. And then, I mean, you're playing in Madison Square Garden, you're playing in New York City, so it's just, from being a fan my whole life to that whole atmosphere that they play and they're surrounded by, all those things, I'd definitely say I'd like to be, if I could, a New York Ranger.
Yeah, I would have to go with the Chicago Blackhawks. I mean, being a fan of them, obviously the type of skill they have on their team, it'd be awesome to play with some of the guys like Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews. And like he said about the city, I mean, Chicago's a big hockey city. Everyone there is, a big hockey fan. It's kind of one of the most popular sports there. So, I mean, it'd be pretty cool to be in that city, and then playing professional hockey for them would be even better.
Well, that is all the time we have for our Rowan Roundtable today. I would like to thank Sam and Aaron for being here. Cody and Derek, back to you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mo. Time to dribble into the latest on the basketball teams. Cody?
Thanks, Derek. The men's basketball team hosted a nail-biter last Wednesday against the Kane University Cougars. The team had a comfortable 42-33 lead at halftime, which they started to improve on in the second half, leading 52-39. The Profs started to lag, however, as the Cougars went on a 20-9 run, trimming the lead down to just 2 points. Later, with the Profs leading by 1 point in a 70-69 contest, Nick DePersia was fouled, making one free throw at the line to give the team a 2-point lead. The Cougars' following shot was a missed opportunity to end the game. Ramon Wright came away with 11 points, 6 rebounds, and 4 blocks. The 71-69 victory was the team's third straight win, heading into their final home game of the season against Rutgers Newark.
The Profs men's basketball team trailed just once in an 89-67 victory over visiting Rutgers Newark in NJAC competition on Saturday. Rowan honored senior forward TJ Booth before the game. He led the Profs with 17 points and 7 rebounds. Guard Deron Curry posted 15 points and 9 boards, and forward Ramon Wright tallied 11 points and 7 rebounds. Guard Rob DePersia contributed with 9 points and 5 assists, while forward Manny Lowe grabbed 7 rebounds. The Profs pick up their 4th straight win to improve to 13-11 overall and 9-8 in the conference.
The women's basketball team took on the Kane University Cougars last Wednesday. Alex Raring and Summer Crilly led the way for the Profs in the first half, taking a commanding 48-34 lead heading into the break. The Cougars picked up the pace in the third quarter at 1 point, bringing the game to within 6 points. Rowan got back on track, though, ending the quarter with a 57-48 lead. The team would hold that 9-point lead for the rest of the final quarter, winning the game 76-67. Improving their record to 13-9 on the season. Alex Raring finished with 17 points, while Summer Curley and Olivia Lulon each finished with 13 points.
The Profs women's basketball team won 88-58 over Rutgers Newark in the final regular season home game on Saturday night. Before the game, the Profs honored their 3 senior players, forward Alex Raring, center April Simchik, and guard Summer Crilly. Raring totaled 21 points, 4 rebounds, and 4 steals. Simchik contributed with 18 points and 8 boards. Guard Dominique Peters followed with 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists. Crilly chipped in with 13 points and 8 boards. The Profs had 10 players that landed on the score sheet. Rowan is now 14-9 overall and 11-6 in the NJAC.
After the break, Ariella Gideon sits down with more members of the Division II ice hockey team in this week's Prof Spotlight. Don't go anywhere.
Welcome back to All Access. Time for this week's Prof Spotlight. Joining me are Peter Cass and Justin Nadiello of the Division II ice hockey team. Thank you for being here with me tonight.
Thanks for having us.
So, as captain, what are some responsibilities that are laid out for you in the beginning of the season?
Responsibilities.
Right.
Well, just trying to get everyone focused, game in and game out, going to practice, make sure we're doing everything Coach tells us, working hard. We got a lot of new guys, so we got to get them acclimated to the team. Just making sure everyone's focused and ready to play when it comes game time.
So what are the skill levels do you think the rookies are at for the team?
Well, this year, what do we have, like 11?
11 rookies.
11 rookies. Yeah. So they came in and they did a really good job,
Right.
getting acclimated to the pace of the game. Coach was very specific what he wanted out of the new guys, what they should do, to help them improve and develop. So this year they're really stepping up. It's a young team.
Right.
A lot of holes coming in after the graduation class from last year, but they're doing a good job.
Yeah, college hockey is a whole new level. So when all these kids came in, I was really surprised at how well they adapted to their game style and how we play. We always play at a fast pace. So they came in and they did exactly what they were asked to do.
That's really good.
Yeah.
So speaking on that, what are some highlights from the season?
One of the cooler things we did this year, we were able to be part of an outdoor game. It was scheduled to be a fundraiser for MS. So we were able to. It's an outdoor game. Not many teams, not many people get to experience that. So definitely one of the highlights of our season. We played University of Delaware. Kind of a rival game too.
Right.
Kind of kicked the crap out of them. So
Hey.
yeah, it was a good time.
That's definitely a highlight. Come on now.
Yeah. So especially with all the new rookies, they got to experience that too. So coming in, yeah, definitely it's one of the better highlights I have.
Yeah, it was definitely a great experience, and it was for a great cause. So can't ask for anything better than that.
More than that.
Yeah.
So, what do you think the team can work on then? The season ended off. Yes, have playoffs coming up, but the season 13-13. Like, what do you think the coach can implement more? What do you think, guys, as older members of the team, what can they implement to to elevate that level of skill?
Looking at our team and the skill set that we have, we're a pretty well-rounded team. Mostly playing 3 periods. One period we'll foot on the gas, completely taking it to this team, and next period, so I don't know what happens, but we don't have the same intensity throughout the whole game. So maybe just working on playing 3 periods and just securing the win.
And we got a big rivalry coming up against Ryder, so
Ryder.
in our first playoff game. So I don't think we have to say much. We just, everybody's just going to go out. Everybody's just going to go out there and just give it their all.
Yeah, and as seniors, our freshman sophomore year, Ryder didn't even come close to beating us.
Right.
Never.
Never.
Going the weekend, they would always get so hyped to play us, and we're like, all right, Ryder. Like rival game, like we got this. Let's just embarrass them again. Last year we met them in playoffs, and we didn't really go in with the same mentality, but they ended up kicking us out of playoffs last year. So going into this game Friday, we really want to redeem ourselves a little bit. So, yeah.
So the game plan is just put it all on the ice.
Yeah, put it all on the ice. 3 periods strong. Big rival game. Make sure they get no momentum, and absolutely hopefully just embarrass them and continue our season.
Just take everything from the whole season and just put it all out there.
Yeah.
And speaking of like what you can prepare for that big playoff game, what has the coach implemented to for like practice and stuff like that, or like conditioning more intense, or is he just going like just do what you always done, team? Like what's going on there?
Yeah, it's a little of both.
We've been doing a lot of sprints in practice.
Yeah, a lot recently, a lot of skating at the beginning of practice, but we like to have high tempo practices. Just keeping the pace. Just improving our the little things that we've been working on. Hopefully, we can bring them all together. But to you guys prepare for games. Just remind us as seniors who are graduating and the guys coming in that you just can't take the sport for granted. So, going into the game, just playing every shift, literally to us like it's our last shift because we're graduating. It's our last season. But that kind of sparks the player a little bit. Days are numbered nowadays, and you just want to go out there and have fun while you can.
What are some techniques that have benefited you more in more games than the others?
Techniques.
Yeah, like do you guys go like you said in the beginning of like the first 3, like you guys go off, hit it off, off the ice, really aggressive plays, but what has benefited you more? Like building up to that momentum or starting right off the bat?
Right off the bat. So we like to keep it pretty mellow before going into a game, warm ups. We play we go outside for a decent amount, play soccer, football, get the legs moving. And then as we gradually get closer to game time, the music picks up, gets more intense.
Blast the music.
Yeah, blast the music, and make sure everyone. There's 25 guys in the locker room, just making sure everyone's focused going in the game. So we like to start right off the bat. We don't want to build up to it when it comes right off the first face-off, guns hot. So
as a goalie, I kind of keep it more like a calmer approach because I try to stay focused. So
yeah, you have to.
I'll separate myself from the team and I'll just go do my own thing and then meet them back in the locker room. So.
Yeah, he's pretty mellow. He does his own thing. I'm in everyone's face.
You have to keep that chill the whole time. It doesn't matter how fast and the pace of the game going.
They're allowed to get all psyched up. But I gotta make sure I gotta stop the puck.
Too much is depending on you. You can't.
Yeah.
So what are some harder shots to deflect from as a goalie? When it's come from you side, are you more or you head on?
Definitely the hardest shots to stop are when you're screened. If you can't see the puck, you're not gonna stop the puck.
Yeah.
So anything from outside and you got a bunch of traffic, a bunch of players in front of you is definitely half the time. It's luck if it hits you, but if not, then you just gotta pray.
As a defenseman, like you just said, obviously it's easier to save a puck when you can see it. But as a defenseman, I'm just making sure he can see the.
Purposely throw yourself down no. Any crazy techniques have you seen from opposing players from this past season? Anything like that?
Crazy techniques. This one team we played actually recently, they tried that, like, usually you have 5 guys back in your own zone when you're getting pressured on you. This one team tried to keep one of their 5th guys at our far blue line. Just
like
total disadvantage on their part. Did not work out for them. So.
It wasn't nothing like the Philly special. Come on.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, nothing too out of the ordinary that we haven't really seen already.
Are there any tricks we can expect from playoffs this Friday?
Tricks.
Yeah, a little something special.
Well, something maybe more intense music, but.
Might change the playlist.
Yeah,
we're just we're gonna go out there and just give it our all.
Yeah.
Like Pete said earlier, this could be one of our last games as seniors, so we're just gonna try and take all that emotion we have, and hopefully it'll reflect on the younger guys.
Yeah.
Well, I expect a great game for you guys on Friday.
Thank you.
That is all the time we have. I'd like to thank Justin and Pete for coming. Cody and Derek, back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Ayala. Time to head towards the finish line and recap the latest track and field events. Derek?
Thanks, Cody. On Friday, the men's track and field team went to compete in the Fastrack National Invitational. Despite there being no team scoring, the team had an influx of top 10 finishes. Harrison Escoffrey tied for first place in the high jump at a height of 7 feet and 1/4 inches. Jeffrey Tucker came away with a 7th place finish in the same event, as well as earning 7th in the long jump with a distance of 22 feet 6.5 inches. Daniel Fitch-Henry had a time just under 15 minutes in the 5,000 meter race, earning him 4th place. Justin Bishop earned 5th place in the 200 meter, and to cap it off, Will Cardona recorded a distance of 52 feet 1.25 inches on the weight throw to give him a 10th place spot.
The men's track and field team competed at the St. Joseph's Invitational on Sunday. There was no team scoring in the event. Dylan Tyrell earned a first place victory on the 1 mile race with a time of 4 minutes 36.46 seconds. Crispin DeAugusta and Mitch Brown earned 2nd and 3rd place in the 800 meters respectively. Matt Rizzi earned 2nd place in the high jump, clearing a height of 6 feet 2 inches, while the pole vault team captured a 3rd and 5th place nod out of Darren Convey and Trey Pasquale, clearing a height of 12 feet 9.5 inches.
On Friday, the women's track and field team went to compete in the Fastrack National Invitational. Despite there being no team scoring, our profs showed up, having multiple top 10 places in the meet. Emily Acton captured a first place win on the 1 mile with a time of 5 minutes 10.73 seconds. The other top 10 finish came from the distance medley team, posting 3rd place with a time of 12 minutes 23.17 seconds. The team consisted of Hannah Vendetta, Maya Sturdivant, Brianna Angelella, and Emily Acton. The team would compete in the St. John's Invitational on Sunday.
The women's track and field team also competed in the St. Joseph's Invitational on Sunday. Angel Rowe placed in the top 10 in multiple races for the squad. She earned first place in the triple jump with a distance of 36 feet 8.25 inches, as well as 2nd place in the long jump at 16 feet 5.75 inches, and 7th in the 200 meter. Brianna Angelella placed 2nd place in the high jump, as well as 4th in the 400 meters. Finally, the 4x200 meter relay team of Angel Rowe, Deshae McClellan, Palumi Edesina, and Brianna Angelella earned 2nd place with a time of 1 minute 48.96 seconds.
That is all for this week's edition of All Access. For Mo Ware, Isla Gideon, Chris Devine, Cody Decker, and the entire All Access team, I'm Derek Hill. We'll see you next time.